Live streaming is on.
Greetings and welcome to Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter and I will be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts. If you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I host these YouTube live streams every Monday and Friday starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunt Hangar Forum member to find the link to attend the after party. Now, here at Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and what you have been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a member of Stunt Hangar Forum, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthanger.com/S as in sunset, M as in Mary, F as in Frank. And you must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. You must also use a valid email address or Sparky, the proprietor of Stunt Hangar, will not approve you. Now, if you are inclined to not come in and just enjoy watching this on YouTube, great, wonderful. Please enjoy, and please enter your questions or comments in the chat box. I will do my best to make your comments a part of the show. Understand, sometimes I can't get a word in myself, but be patient. I will ask your question to our panel. Now, if you find Stunt Hangar Video Hangouts or the many building videos that Sparky does on this platform informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up. That's what I call a like. And please consider subscribing and sharing the videos. That helps the channel grow. Please consider joining our YouTube channel membership starting at $4.99 a month, which is less than 17 cents a day. And your support helps offset some of the expenses of running Stunt Hangar. Now, with your membership, you get special badges on the YouTube chat box and unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. You can also use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box, to make your donations. Thank you again for your past, your present, and your future support. You are making it happen. We are trying to grow this platform so that we can kind of create a revival of control line interest, and we need your help. So please like and subscribe and do all the things that we ask to build the channel up and expose more people to what we're doing. Please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words you wouldn't say around your children or grandchildren. And without any further ado, I'm going to post the link at Stunt Hangar right now, and the link is going to be posted, bam, right now. And so hopefully we will have some guests come in and some friends come in, and that'll be fantastic. We've been having some really good shows. I've been finding them very enjoyable, and there seems to be a lot of interest in what we're doing. So we want to continue with this momentum to make this happen. So let me see here what's going on in the chat box. I already have James Dorian. I'm so sorry, James. I'm probably blowing your name, but anyways, he says hi, Charles, and hi, James. Thanks for coming in. That's wonderful. Do you have any questions or comments, James? You're the first one in. Giving James a chance to respond. And we all have, excuse me, and we also have 6 viewers right now, in addition to James on the chat box. And we have 7 likes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. What I want to do is get the recommended, when you go into YouTube, when you go to your home feed, you usually have these recommended videos on the right side. That's what my goal is, to get this there where uh, for some reason it's recommended. Hey, you guys. Boy, I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Welcome, Ed, and welcome, Bill. Hey,
Hi.
that's great. I'm really excited to see you guys. How you guys been?
Good, good.
Good. I saw you had a little bit of a thread on Stunt Hangar.
Which one?
Oh, good. So you had more than one. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it was, honestly. I just I saw it. I didn't read it, but I saw your name and I was like, wow, good. I wonder what he's up to.
The last one was for the SLC covering.
Yes, now I remember. I did see that. Yes.
I guess apparently they don't make it anymore. I guess I'm not sure, but it seems to be hard to come by. So I don't know whether they do make it. Stop. I checked in the vendor's corner, and the painting and finishing, and it was the one that does the foam wings, and they're even having trouble finding the stuff. And when they do find it, then it's exorbitantly expensive. So I don't know whether it's a substitute for it. I don't know. So
Now
right
that
now,
is SLC coming from combat, or was
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Okay. Have you been to Corehouse?
that's one of the sites I was on. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
Corehouse. I mean, that's where I think you would find out. And
yeah.
and maybe
And
next time when hopefully Mike Lonke comes in, he might have a beat on what they're using now. If they're not using
yeah,
SL any longer, he would have an idea what they're using now.
yeah. I've been using Monocoat, but I wanted to try this SLC just to see because I want to put like a silk span over top of that. So I can get the strength and the look I need too.
Right. Right. Now
So
SLC is that a heat? It's a heat activated covering.
yeah, it's it's not crystal clear. It's kind of like an opaque clear.
Okay.
You can see through it. It's something you want to highlight your airframe and stuff. It really
Oh.
works out good.
Oh, okay.
So if you see the combat ships right now, you'll notice that a lot of them you can see all the framework. They just put this SLC on, and it's super strong, I guess, and it works out pretty good for them guys.
Oh,
So,
very very good. Very very good.
yeah. So there was a question I had. I talked about it earlier. I know I asked the guys. We were talking about paint, and it came up that they use Rust-Oleum, but I was curious to know whether you use it's Krylon fuel proof. I know.
Hey Robert, I've only matter of fact the planes that I have right now I didn't apply, but they came with Rust-Oleum paint on them,
Uh,
and they're pretty fuel proof. I mean, I haven't seen any paint on my paper towel or any cross contamination between the colors.
yeah. Well, I knew the Rust-Oleum was. I was curious about the Krylon.
I don't know. All I've ever experienced is with Rust-Oleum. I have used Rust-Oleum personally also, but I don't know if Krylon is any better or worse. Hopefully, someone in the chat box or one of our other guests will come in and they'll have a comment.
Yeah, I know when we were teaching the class, there was a couple of gentlemen. We taught a class over at the museum for building model airplanes from our control line club. And the kids would monocoat the wings, but they would paint the fuselage, but they would take the planes home and paint them. So I don't know where they were using the Krylon or the Rust-Oleum. The sad part is we never know we had, the last class we had probably 8 kids and only one flew. So I don't know, whether, where the Krylon, if that's what they used, whether it's fuel proof or not. Because I got a bunch of planes I want to build, but I really don't want to use a dope. I can't. It's so cold here now that we had like 4 inches of snow, 5 inches of snow yesterday, and I can't paint out in the garage because I got no heat, and I can't paint in my shop downstairs because it would just stink up the house. So,
Right.
so I was just curious about the Krylon.
Huh. Yeah. Well.
And I know the Rust-Oleum takes a long time to gas off, and I think Krylon is a lot quicker. But if it's not fuel proof, then there's no use using it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I find that a lot of planes that are fuel proof, but they can't handle the hot fuel.
Like the half-base stuff like that.
Hot fuel it's really hard to stand up against hot fuel.
Yeah.
But most paints are fuel proof, but not hot.
Yeah.
Not hot fuel.
And I don't have the equipment to do the 2-part stuff. The epoxies and the resins. So I'm not set up for that yet, as far as Because I'm pretty sure you have to spray it. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking you have to spray that stuff.
I use this class coat epoxy
Uh-huh.
and just brush it on. It looks pretty good. It dries real slow, and it's a real thick finish.
Uh-huh. And you can brush that, huh?
Yeah.
That's good. That's
You know,
something.
if you don't have spray equipment, most of the paint shops, they can set you up with the 2K aerosol cans. Where
Okay.
you activate it, you have to use it within a few days, but you can get pretty much any color put in of whatever product of paint you want if you don't have a spray rig.
Yeah, I don't have a spray rig.
Yeah, go down to an auto body shop supplier in your town
Uh-huh.
and just talk to them about it, and they can set you up with that. You know, it's quite a bit more expensive way to go. You can't do touch-ups casually or anything, but
Yeah.
you know, plan a sort of a production line and just give her, especially with the clears that you use over the nose and fuselage and whatnot. You know,
Yeah.
plan on doing 4 or 5 models at once, so you're not wasting it.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. And what was it called again?
Well, just about any brand. There's Imron here. We've got Endura. There's so many different brands, but it's whatever they happen to carry for a 2-part paint.
Okay.
A quality auto body shop supplier or paint supplier can mix it up in an aerosol can, and you take the can and some of them you flip the lid and smash it on the bottom or whatever to activate the hardening agent. But
Okay.
once you do that, it'll keep forever before you do that. But once you do that, you've only got a few days to use it. Some
Okay.
people say that they can get away with putting it in the freezer and doing it a week later or anything. I've never tried that. I have lots of spray equipment anyway, so I rarely use them.
Yeah, I'll check them out.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Thanks.
We are doing great. I'm really excited. We're off to a blazing start. Amazing. I mean,
Oh, that's good.
I started the show and James Dorian was on there on the chat box, and he said he loves our shows. And then Flying Hobbit
awesome.
he says, "Hello, Charles from August." I guess he means Australia, I think. And then Greg Nielsen says, "Evening, guys," and "Evening, Charles." Hello, gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming in on the chat box. It's awesome, and we have 19 viewers already and only 8 likes. So please smash the like button. And again, you know, I'm really pushing that, and the reason being is that to get us as a recommended view for people. So when they go to their home feed, they see what is this video thing, and they hopefully will be able to grow from that. So please help us, and thank you. I already see another like or a thumbs up already added, so thank you. And hey, John.
Cool.
And hey, Philip.
Hey, John.
And
Hello
hey,
there.
Tim.
John.
And hey,
Hey,
Robert.
guys.
I think I'm caught up
Hey,
now.
Charles.
Hey, guys. So,
So I've been building free flights now.
oh, wow.
Wow.
I'll finish this one.
That's a pretty combo, Bill.
Yeah.
Nice looking.
That is a
It's
good
called
looking
the
airplane.
Jewel Box. It's got one of these really hot Cobra motors on it. So
Cool. That's
That
nice.
is very nice.
Have you flown it yet?
no.
That's why you still have it.
Yeah, he won't have it after he flies it. It'll be gone.
It's
That sucker looks like it's a lone strucky, star-struck angel trying to get back home.
There's only
Yeah, my
5
only
degrees
suggestion
here
is-
today, so
My only suggestion is be sure and put a dethermalizer on it. Those things
Yeah,
melt
that's
like
right.
a rocket.
I'll
I've-
show you
I've-
the other one I've been building.
I have a funny comment from Mike Lonke. He says, I'll like you as you like me, Charles.
That's asking.
You know, you're saying it's only 5 degrees there. I'd take that in a second.
Yeah,
We're
me
about,
too.
25 to 30 below Celsius, which
Oh,
is about
man.
15, 20 below Fahrenheit. We've been like this for a week, and we got another week of it. So
Canadians
don't
are a
feel sorry
tough
for
lot.
yourself. You're doing good.
Yeah, really.
That's serious
You guys are a
cold,
tough
that
lot.
is.
Crazy as a bed bug, but you're a tough lot.
Wow.
I'm also
Not
building
that-
a half a Viking, and
That's a
I'm
half
gonna,
a- That's a big plane.
yeah, 48-inch wingspan, and I'm going to put tissue over the mylar on the wing, but I'm waiting
Wow.
for warmer weather to put the tissue on with dope, but that really should make it stiff when I get the tissue over the mylar.
That's beautiful.
That is really nice looking. You've been busy, Bill. I haven't seen you in a while, but you have been busy. That's awesome.
Building up a
the
storm.
funny thing is, this is a half A Viking. Carl Goldberg, and they used to sell for like $5. And there was one the other night. I saw it was $358 for a kit on eBay, and it went for $370. And yet a lot of these have been selling for like $30 on eBay. I just don't know why sometimes stuff goes so high on eBay.
You get a bunch of people on there interested and just, I want it, and somebody else, I want it. And you look at the number of bidders, and it'll be two bidders that are going back and forth trying to buy something. I mean, there was a Fox 59 on there the other night, went for $360 something.
Wow.
I've got a half a dozen of them, and the most I ever paid for a Fox 59 was $74.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I may have to put a couple of mine on there.
I saw a Tiger 60, a brand new one in the box, go for over $1,000.
Good
Lord. For what? For how much? For what kind?
Super Tiger 60.
Good Lord.
It had the Venturi and
I've got a brand new L&J modified one that I'll sell for that. Good grief.
That's scary.
I quit selling on eBay when I put up a Aldrich McGass 40. You ever hear of those?
No.
Yeah. I've always wanted one, but never had one.
Well, I put one up. But I ain't got a 40. I put one up on eBay, and I wasn't sure that it was a McGass. I found out later it was. I found out the right thing to look for. But anyway, I got $3 for it.
Oh my
goodness!
Oh, what a shame!
Oh Lord!
And that's when I decided to quit selling on.
Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that is.
That engine was hand reworked by Aldrich himself. It had a piston made out of a camshaft actually, and it was designed to run long time, run no problem.
And anyway, run with a muffler.
Yeah, and then the guy that bought it, the thing got under my skin. The guy who bought it just was bragging and churlish about how he gotten it for such a cheap price. And that was directly to me, to my face. I thought, okay, this is enough of this.
Yeah. Well, I don't sell anything eBay myself. I have a daughter who is the self-professed queen of eBay, and she manages to sell my stuff and get a decent rate. But anything that's worth anything, we put a reserve on.
Yeah, I mean, I should have put a reserve on it. I just figured people would know what it was.
So. Yes, I know that usually would go up to what it's worth, even if you start off with a little bit. But yeah, it can bite you in the rear sometimes. That's really unfortunate. Hey, Tryon, I want to let you know that I muted your mic because he was making a lot of noise, and so when you want to say something, you have to unmute your mic, Tryon. And on the chat box, we have Greg Nielsen. He says it was 80 degrees in South Florida, and he also says, look at the Cox 049s. They're selling for a couple hundred. And then
that's crazy.
Gary Sinclair says, hi, might be on later when my son gets done with my laptop. So look forward to you coming in here, Gary. And Mike Lonke, I have a question. You might have already seen it on the forum, but Ed Carlisle here has a question regarding SLC for combat planes. He was wondering about if there's a substitute or where you could find it. So if you're just listening, Mike, if you can get back to us, I'd appreciate it. Mike Lonke, that is.
That's supposed to be the new one.
So we're up to 23 views and 15 likes. So please continue to smash that like button. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Phil.
No, I'm all right. I was those free flight kits. That's been the latest thing that's just been going ridiculously out of sight. You could pick them up for $3 a year ago, and now the same kit's 30. But hey, look, a little Satan, just a little Satan, Carl Goldberg, little Satan combat model, 21 inch. Good to see you, Mike. When I was a kid, we used to go out and mow a yard, get $1.50, go buy a little Satan kit, come home and spend a couple of days building it. I mean, you mow a yard for get $3 and have enough to buy your glue, your dope, your tissue, and the kit. Well, it came with tissue. $3, you had everything you needed. Now you go to buy the kit, and it's $50. Hey, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Is that why it's getting so expensive to get a lawn smoke?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mow my own. All my neighbors have lawn services and all that crap. I have people that come out and fertilize mine and read the dirt and see what it needs and all that garbage. But no, the Lord waters it and I cut it. I'm not paying somebody $75 a week to come out here and mow for 30 minutes. I've got 1 acre, but they unload 2 lawnmowers, and in 30 minutes they're loading them back up. And I said, I got a perfectly good John Deere. I can mow it myself.
I'm with you, Phil. I'm with you.
Me too.
You got to draw the line somewhere.
When we bought this house on a 1 acre lot, I bought a Dixie chopper, got a beer holder, and I got a 7 beer lawn. I like mowing. I like mowing every 6 days during the summer.
There
I
you
tell
go.
you what, it's the one time that nobody bothers me. I leave I turn the cell phone off. Well, I actually put on my headphones, and I've got a set of headphones that'll play Bluetooth. So I turn on the radio through my cell phone, and I just go drink a beer and mow the yard and have a great time.
That's what I do. Listen to music.
Cut the grass.
I actually I restream Charles live chats so I can listen to Charles talk when I'm mowing my yard. That's what I do.
Oh wow!
I tried it with a Wendy.
You're a liar.
Wow! I feel that
lying.
That's pretty sad, Mike. Very sad.
Hey Charles, what does he want from you?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to boost the ratings a little, man. They're good on a re-listen.
So how's your hand?
Good. Yeah. I mean, this one's still whatever. I don't want to get off on a tangent on that, but the gloves came off on this one. It's whatever. Yeah. This comes off.
You got a caterpillar on your palm.
Yeah, that's the incision. I just cleaned it up a little bit and whatever. Yeah. But so far so good on this one. Hopefully I get this one off, then I can get back to, building.
As long as you can do this, you'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So your flying hand is which one, Mike?
It's this one.
Okay.
Oh, you're left-handed. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most worried about because I fly with this one. And they both had the carpal tunnel, but this one had a Dupuytren's removed. So my ring finger on my left hand is cut pretty much from my palm to my knuckle. And that's what I'm worried about, that it heals properly so that I can fly with this hand this year. If not, I'll have to fly right-handed, if I have any issues. But
just one suggestion. Do what the doctor says and don't overdo it.
No, I won't.
Hey, right hand is the wrong hand. You know that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Tryon. I want to be flying with this one this summer. That's why I had it done at this time of year. But if it becomes, I can still fly combat with this hand, no problem. My stunt game would probably suffer if I had to fly with my right hand this year, just because of my muscle memory and my reflex. I would have to learn to fly the pattern.
Yeah, you would.
But I could still fly combat with this one if I had to. So
to everybody but those two, we got to watch it when those two are around. Tryon and Mike, because they're left-handers. They're the only ones in the room in the right mind. So we got to watch them.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. 100% correct.
Yeah.
Hey,
John, I wanted to comment on your eBay deal there where you got roached on your engine for $3. I always just put like $10 or $20 below the minimum I'm willing to take for the item. Very rarely do I start with an opening bid of $5 or $10. You know, if it's a $50 motor, I'll start the opening bid at 40, and then if it goes, it goes. But even on a $40 or $50 motor, I would never start with a $1 or $5 bid on it, because you can end up giving it away, you know, like that.
For sure.
If it doesn't sell with your $40 bid, then you know that's not the market at the time, and what
Good, wise words.
You know, I hear that happen to you on that motor.
Wise words. I usually did something similar to that, but in this particular case, I was feeling out of my mind, or generous, or dumb, or stupid, or something. It happens.
Both.
A little bit crazy. I tried to buy a SIG twister, and it was online. I saw it last week, and I was just ready to push that buy button for a SIG twister kit, and I saw the shipping. What? $40 shipping? My word! So I didn't buy it, but I can scratch one.
Yeah, you got to be careful on the shipping.
Yeah, I mean it's a constant cord airplane, so.
How much was it without
it was
the
up
shipping?
to $54, but the shipping was up to shipping was $48.
Oh God, never. No
it's
way.
Still on there.
That's
it's
craziness.
There.
Yeah, there's a reason it's still on there. Wow.
Heavy wood, yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Well, Phil, I'll sell you one for $100 shipped if you want one that bad.
If I had $100 to put in it, I would, but I think I can scratch one for about 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very good.
So,
hey, Bill Cole.
Yeah.
I've been watching your stuff on the face page, your free flight stuff. It's all looking pretty good. I'm pretty sure you saw I've been building a passel of free flight stuff too.
Lately. I have.
Yeah, I cranked out as many as I could before I lost the hands there. But your Viking is looking really good, and it's got me peaked. My brother has a half-A Viking kit at his place in Maryland. And did you say you saw one go for over $300?
Yeah, we went for $370 a kit, you know, recently. And why, I don't know, because, you know, other people have said they've sold them for like $30, you know. But there was like 45 bidders, I noticed, so.
Wow.
Because that's a Goldberg crunched crappy wood kit, right? They're not like, especially if it's a vintage Goldberg kit, it's die crunched plywood, right? Most of it.
Yeah, I didn't think the wood was that bad, but it's die cut, yeah.
Die crunched.
Die crunch.
Okay. Well, I'll be calling my brother and having him shipping me that half-A Viking kit, because now I want to put it on eBay just to see what it'll go for, you know.
Maybe the
box.
What,
I think I've got one in the basement. I'll trade you for the twister.
Oh, nice! There you go.
You guys want me to weigh this Viking wing?
Well, Phil, that's a good deal for you, maybe.
I tell you what,
this is a half-A Viking that I started building back in about '77.
You hadn't finished it yet.
You want me to weigh that and stab through the hell of it?
Yeah.
You carried that around for.
Away from it. That'll make.
That'd be 44 almost.
Just out of curiosity, maybe I'll pull my scales out and see what a Viking Goldberg kit wing weighs covered with monocoat on it.
I'm darn.
I don't have any airplanes left from '77. Not one.
I can't say that. I probably do.
Well, if you're not flying, you're not going to wreck them.
Well, that's true, but 70.
You know that. Yeah, wing. It's got the stars going through the center of the ribs, and then it's tapered, and it's a bear to build it.
That's 3 ounces covered.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Stab and elevate fin with movable controls, because I was building it for 2-channel radio. That's 1.6 ounces, hinged and no horns, but hinged up, covered. So I don't think that's all that bad for a kit weight, especially covered in monocoat.
Yeah.
No, I got the crazy idea to build a model builder Raven. And then I decided to build, I kept hearing about the new version of the model builder Raven. I've forgotten what they called it, but it was the second version. And you can't find a set of plans for it. Since he passed away and gave all his plans to Model Builder, and Model Builder gave them all to AMA, and AMA hadn't got them all straightened out yet. You can't get those plans yet. So I decided I'd take the drawings I had and I would extrapolate everything and just make it work, because I knew how big it was supposed to be. So not having John's talent, it took me about 3 months to draw this thing, another 4 months to build it, put it up, got it put up. And if it had not been for just a freak thing that happened, I put a piece of chrome tape, or it was machine tape, on the leading edge. I forgot about watching the B1 or B2 take off and it disappearing. And as it turned away from me as it come off the high start and leveled out, I thought everything was fine. And all of a sudden it disappeared. I mean, it disappeared. So I start turning around and just putting just 2 clicks of left and 2 clicks of up, and it starts turning. Finally, I see it looks like a rainbow flash way over here. So I got it back toward me and I got it back. But I'm telling you what, flying wings are hard to see. They're a lot of fun, but they are hard to see. So now I understand, if you look at the article, he has the most ridiculous looking paint job on it. 2/3 of it is red, then 1/3 of it is orange, and 1/3 of it is yellow. And it's all wing now. It ain't no wings and fuselage, it's all the wing. Wow. I understand why. Now you can try to figure out which direction the darn thing's going. Because if the sun hadn't been out, I never would have seen that darn thing. It would have been gone.
Wow.
But it's got ailerons, which also work as flaperons. It's got the elevator, which you use as flaps for takeoff, but you only use a tiny bit. And then you can chrome mix it coming in for a landing. But it's a fun airplane, but I just as soon fly the stock model builder Raven. It's a lot of work for a little bit of extra gain. But it was fun building. And everybody else said, no, I ain't going to attempt that. I said, well, I'm hard-headed. I want to build it. But then I've always loved flying wings. So, Well, tell me something. John, how is your plane coming?
Which one?
Working on it? The,
Vanguard?
Yeah.
I've kind of set it aside for a bit, because I realized that with what I got left before I'm ready to cut it, I need to build something for the Nats. And and so I could put the time in. By the time I get it all ready to cut and all that, I wouldn't have enough time to build it. So I've got the 4-bits. I actually showed it, I think, before you got here. Were you here last on Friday? Anyway, okay. Well, I showed it to the guys on Friday, and I have a laser cut kit that I had made when I first finished it, so I can use that. But
4-bits.
We looked at it and decided that it needed more length in the fuselage between the flaps and the elevator. And I'd been thinking about that too, and it turned out it was like 14 and a half inches between the flaps and the elevator. And it had a high aspect ratio stab and elevator on it. So I banged out this morning, pulled it down and started banging things out, and I moved the stab and elevator back 17 and a half inches.
Now you're talking.
I changed the aspect ratio on the stab and elevator. I actually increased the area a little bit on the stab and elevator too. So I've got it here. So if we get a point where somebody you guys want to see where it's at now, I can pull it up. So that's where I'm at.
Well, I mean, this is a toy airplane for them.
Oh, well, okay. You guys want to see it? I'll pull it up.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, you remember what it was Friday?
Only thing I got to see Friday, I got to sign on long enough to give you a thumbs up. I saw you found your shears.
I did.
So while you're looking for that, John, let me catch up on the chat box.
All right.
Time I was at Lake Montana Farmer. He says supposed to be 55 degrees below wind chill here tonight. And then Greg Nielsen says, I guess his yard is only a 3 beer yard compared to your 7 beer yard. Mike. I don't know if Mike, if you're drinking your beers faster or is your yard really?
They're both an acre, and his is wide open. I've seen pictures of it, so he's just a better drinker than I am.
And then Greg Nielsen, he says, yeah, I picked up a new Secret Tiger 61 RC, new in the box for $65. Never mounted. Very good. That's a much better deal than the one for $1,000. The one for $1,000 was it actually was a control line setup in the box, brand new, never used. And Greg Nielsen goes on to say you can get good deals on eBay, and that's true. I only do good deals on eBay, as a matter of fact. And then Ed Sutter, I think this is for you, Mike. He says, Mike, what do you do that gave you carpal tunnel?
Probably
living.
Probably no, for real. If you want an honest answer, probably 20 years of work in production and manufacturing, and even when I was in quality control, it was repetitive stuff. And then 17 years of skydiving, man, where 4,000 jumps where I'm steering parachutes all the time. It's repetitive motion disease is what or I don't know if it's disease, but repetitive motion, just on the hands doing repetitive stuff in either a production assembly line environment, or the only other thing I can think of is skydiving and flying canopies for so long, and even flying my powered paraglider around. I steer with steering toggles in my hand, and it puts a lot of strain on your wrists and forearms. So, and I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't pinpoint it to one thing, but they say carpal tunnel is because of repetitive motion stuff. And I had it really bad in both hands. So the only thing I could link to that would be production work or skydiving. So,
John, that is a beautiful airplane. I had it too, both hands, and they said that's what they told me mine was from. Repetitive motion.
Well,
mine, they said
repetitive motion.
Repetitive motion. They said it was from working the controls on the bucket, but they found out the bucket was supposed to have 4 pounds of force, and mine had 17.
Right.
So,
you're just doing the same thing over and over and over and over years and years and years, and it just catches up with you, man. It just catches up. So,
I did the same thing at Honda, and my hands are wrecked.
Yeah. They kept checking.
20 years.
He kept giving me the scratch test, scratching the inside of your forearm, and I kept saying, "Feels the same, feels the same." I had to go to a different doctor. My wife got me signed up to go see a different doctor, and a physician's assistant, wasn't even a doctor, checked me, and he says, "Well, the reason it's the same is because you got it in both hands." So anyway, they got me fixed up. The doctor just kept charging me $40. Specialist just kept charging me $40 to check me and saying, no, if it's the same, you're all right. You're all right.
Wow.
Well, John, the only thing I would change on that is the shape of the cowling just a little bit to force more air around that engine cylinder, because that's going to act like a splitter, and the air is going to go around it and never get to the middle of it, or especially the back of it. That's
well, actually, it's open from here to here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's very similar to what I drew for Alan Brickhouse's Legacy.
Well,
the cylinder sticks out like that.
It'll be fine for the Legacy.
Yeah,
that is sharp.
I was looking. Well, thank you.
I'm trying to bring it up, but I can't do it.
I can get it bigger, but thicker lines and that. There's one of the things with the program, the PDF program, the Adobe. It seems like sometimes they'll come up and angled lines will be lighter than straight lines until you start getting it into up closer, and then you start getting your line weights and things like that.
Yeah.
So I did it this way so you see the shape, but the shape of the fuselage is basically the same fuselage shape-wise as is on the biplane, the 2-bits bipe, but it has a mono wing where the 2-bits bipe has a wing down here and one up here. So I'll show you, give you an idea what it can look like when I get there, start getting the lines. Whoops, come back here.
Oh, hey, John, did I hear you say this is a plane you're building for the Nats? Is that?
Yeah, I'm going to build this one up for the Nats.
Wow.
It's February, buddy.
Yeah, well, it don't take me long to build.
Okay.
I'm kind of like Sparky that way.
Okay. So, all right. I'm just reminding you.
Now we start.
And the Nats are a month earlier this year. That's all.
Yeah,
that's ambitious, man.
So that gives you an idea. We're starting to see line weights now. Okay. So anyway, that's where I'm at with it. From last time you saw it on Friday, I particularly like these simulated covers here.
And you're going to scratch this out, John? You're going to scratch build this?
I've got it already. It's all laser cut already.
Oh, it's all laser cut already. Okay. So you are starting from a kit.
What I will have to do is make some new fuselage sides and change a couple of bulkheads. That's about it. That won't take long. Everything else from the trailing edge of the wing forward is pretty much the same, but I've got to run weights and measures and make sure that I don't have to put too much nose weight in. If I do, then I'll need to make the wing the nose a little longer. So anyways,
and are you putting a stalker in it?
Yeah. I'll be
stalker.
Yeah. I don't have time to mess with setting it up for electric right now, though I was looking at it. This shape would be really good for an electric, here at the chin, because your electric could be up in this area. This would be cooling area that can get in on the battery and the timer and all of that stuff. So yeah,
and I'm sure you've done the mental checklist, like everything you need to finish it all the way through, like the stuff you have, the stuff you don't have that you got to order and you need, or put control system, lead out wire, wheels, tank, finishing materials, all that stuff. That's where I always get caught. I don't always think them through all the way to the end, and then I'm up against it because I need one or two things, and you got to order it and wait for it. I'm not real good.
You can't get it in a hurry.
Right, you can't get it in a hurry. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of those things when I start a model. Like, do I have everything I'm gonna need all the way through?
Right. I'm fortunate in that up in Salt Lake we have a fair to Midland hobby shop, and they do they don't carry dope or paints like I'd like them to, but they carry a lot of other things that are useful to us. So what I'd have to be looking for would be the flap and elevator horns. I've got the Bakelite to make my own belt crank, so that's not a problem. I was over at the hardware store today looking at their Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch water-based acrylic enamel, which is what I used on the Pathfinder LE, and it worked really good. So, I mean, it took Krylon over the over that, and it went over dope, and then dope went over everything else. So, yeah.
What was the
Hey,
clear?
John, you just said something interesting to me. You said Bakelite, which is the correct term. And I'm just curious if everyone here knows who we have to thank for Bakelite and what it was first used for.
I have no idea.
It'd be circuit board material.
I don't even know what it is.
It was the first plastic type material that was used. If I remember correctly, developed for World War II.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
It was used a lot in grips for rifles and pistols originally.
Right.
Okay.
For the U.S. military.
Huh.
Is that the
Right.
brown?
And then
is that the brown stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yes, Jim, it is. And then the Russians stole it and used it on the AKs. But it was a military application first, Bakelite.
Hey, Mike,
circuit boards are made of all kinds
Ed
of
had a
stuff.
question about the SLC covering. Do you have a deed on where to get some, or what's the replacement for that?
Eddie Suter's asking about SLC.
No,
Carlisle, he's right here.
yeah.
Ed Carlaw is asking about SLC. Well, Ed, how much do you need, first of all?
Well, I have a Sterling PT-17 that I'm going to start building, and I want to use that as like an underlayment for silk span. The wingspan is 64, 65 inches, I think. And
Okay.
I'm not sure whether I'm going to use that on the fuselage or not, but I definitely want to use it on the wings. And
So you want to use it as a substrate underneath tissue or
Yeah.
silk?
Yeah.
Okay. So SLC, which is
there a substitute?
super light covering that Phil Cartier sold. It's a Mylar material. I think it's 1 mil. It does have a heat activated adhesive on the back. So mostly we use it on foam combat models. That's kind of how Phil found it, to use it on foam combat models. And it does shrink a little bit. It's not super great on compound curves or anything. And Phil had tons of it at one time. And,
Yeah,
you know, he always,
I checked on his site, and he was having trouble getting it. And when he
Right,
did find was, you know, he couldn't touch the price as far as because he had to buy so much of it.
right. That's, I'm
Have you
getting
ever
there.
tried DocuLam?
Hold on. Let's stick on the SLC here for a minute. Let me finish my point with Ed. Yeah, Phil sold it for a long time, and he always included enough in every model that he sold to cover the wings of whatever model. And then he sold it 100 feet in a sheet for a time. You could buy 100 feet at a time.
Yeah.
I've used it on and off over the years. I found FastCal to be a better alternative. Phil does not have SLC, and there is no supplier now, but I do have a pretty big stash of it because I bought a couple 100 feet from him when he was selling it. If you need enough to finish a model, I can send you enough to do a couple of wings if that's the route you want to go. I have enough here, and if you send me a private message or an email with your address, you tell me how many square feet you need, and I'll cut you some off and send it to you. I'm not interested in selling my entire roll that I have, but I'll send you enough to finish your model.
Okay, I appreciate that. I guess my next question is there something else you're using beside that now?
I used something very similar to FastCal, which comes from a company called Rama, but you have, and it's an adhesive back, and it's a full adhesive. So you pull it off, and it's like Scotch tape on the back. It's sticky adhesive, not a heat activated adhesive like SLC is.
Like a contact type.
Correct. But you have to buy 750 feet.
Yeah.
That's the smallest.
Yeah.
And it's $350 for a 750 foot roll.
Yeah.
But I don't balk at that as much as we use it for combat models. That it's not practical for somebody wanting to do 1 or 2 airplanes. But
Yeah, that's all I would need it for.
But if you want some SLC enough, so it's a biplane, so you need top and bottom, and you said 60-inch wingspan. I got you covered there. I can send you what you need, and it is SLC from Phil Cartier. Just send me a message through. You're on Stunt Hangar, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Send me a private message with your address. Tell me how many square feet you need, and I'll stick it in an envelope and send it to you at no charge.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, Ed, you also had a question on Krylar, and John Miller. He's gone, but when he comes back, he mentioned Krylon just a second ago.
Yeah, we were teaching a class. We haven't done it in a while now because we can't get kids interested. But we were building clowns, and there was a couple other ones. But they were monocoating the wings. But we would let them take the fuselage home and let them paint it whatever color they wished. I don't know whether they were using Krylon or Rust-Oleum. And I know Rust-Oleum is fuel-proof, but I don't know whether Krylon is. I know it takes a long time for Rust-Oleum to gas off. And, if Krylon is quicker, that'd be great. But if it's not fuel-proof, then it's not serving my purpose. I don't know what anybody had used Krylon. I heard John say he was using acrylic, the acrylic. So I don't know whether that gas is off quicker than the standard, Rust-Oleum. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, John left. I don't know where John went.
Okay.
So Mike, what I want to say is that I used to use Mike is not here no more.
I'm here.
Oh yeah, you are. I used to use DocuLamp for covering, and I think for combat would be a very good option because it's very, very stiff. It doesn't give in like monocoat or anything else. It's a very, very stiff covering. It's actually the stiffest I can find on my discus launch glider. It doesn't like to conform like you see on the round curves and stuff like that, but like a flat wing, like a combat wing or something like that. Something that doesn't have a whole lot of compound to it. And I even made a video of how to use it, because...
Is it adhesive backed? Does it have an adhesive on the back?
It's heat activated.
Yeah, so it has a heat activated adhesive.
Yes.
Yeah, so you hit it with the iron and it will stick.
Yes.
A little bit.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. But because it has such a low shrink to it and it needs a bit higher temperature to shrink it, don't expect to have a lot of shrink. So you have to put it pretty tight to begin with.
Right. You gotta pull it really taut when you get it down because the gun's not gonna shrink it a lot, and it's hard on a radius and a compound curve.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One tip, Ed, that I can tell you, when we were using just the SLC, we would mist the wings with 3M M77.
Okay.
We would mist them and help pull and stretch and put it down before we actually hit it with the iron, just to keep it from wrinkling back up and pulling back up on itself.
The M7, is that contact cement?
Yeah, the foam saves headliner spray or whatever. Yeah, 3M M77. It's foam safe, so we'd use it on foam. But I would think even that Sterling, you said it's a P7 PT17, but it's like an open frame, open bay thing.
Yeah.
I would think too, just mist it with some contact cement before you put the SLC down to help tack it in place. Might make it a little easier to work with while you're covering it with that.
Okay.
I'm going through my stash right now, trying to dig your stuff out here. So I'm pretty sure I got a set of instruction sheets for the SLC in here. I'll send that with it.
Okay.
Fantastic. Let me say hi to Jim. Welcome, Jim, and welcome, Gary. Gary, you awake? I didn't get a chance to say hi before you went to sleep. But hey, Jim.
Gary.
That's job.
Hey, Gary.
Going to sleep is Lance' job, isn't it?
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
I think he joins us because he falls asleep.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Right. Very good. So, Jim, last time you was on the chat box, you had to go to bed early, go flying the next day. How was the flying? How'd it go?
Flying was great. In fact, I went flying this last Saturday. Was a better day, but I was a little cool in the morning, but like 65 or something like that, and winds were down pretty good.
65.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible weather.
Horrible.
We keep wishing for days
65,
like that.
winds were like 5, and we got there like 7 o'clock.
I wouldn't even get out of the house for that.
Okay.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm getting better at it. Getting back in the groove since my accident, so pattern was a little better.
What accident?
I got in a car wreck and I broke my radius compound fracture.
Wow.
And let me tell you, when you get older, it takes a long time to get stuff fixed.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're preaching to the choir.
Quite worked exactly right, but it's pretty close. And then my bird finger, it actually now it's different to where it almost closes back the way it used to. So
I thought I was I hadn't heard that term in 25 years.
Bird finger.
Yeah.
Old school around here, man.
So, and
what else do you need it for?
I for sure got you
Oh,
covered.
Lord.
I just wanted to make sure I've got 2 or 3 of these that came in kits, and I do have a 100-foot roll that Phil sent me that I bought from him. So PM me, you got it. Whatever you need, you got it. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. That is awesome. Hey, you guys, let me catch up on the chat box. I'm a little bit behind. Let me see here. Okay. All right, Greg. Hey, Greg. Greg Bisweek says, thank you to John Miller. And John Miller is not back yet, but he says, thank you to John Miller for a suggestion he made 3 or so weeks ago. I put a washer under the front mounts of my SV11, and it just sits where it is put, inverted and level flight, sits in the groove. And then he goes on to say, John, regarding the stalker, are you putting the stalker in inverted or at 270 or something else?
It's inverted on the plans, right?
It's inverted, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Greg.
I just
And
wonder
now,
what size it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I know
40, 60, 80. We don't know.
I don't know. And then Banshee
John's got them all.
says, Banshee 15, his message was retracted. And then Top Rent says, hi, guys. And Top Rent, I got the handles and the brackets. Thank you very much. They look awesome. And again, thank you for good service. Thank you, Top Rent. And then Top Rent also adds that John Miller was using Painter's Choice Rust-Oleum. It is the water-based stuff. Needs a top coat to be fuel-proof. And we're at 19 concurrent viewers, actually 20. And we have 19 likes. Thank you very much, guys. That is awesome. And hopefully when we get off the show, we'll add our likes and we'll have a really good turnout. So
remember, Charles, you promised to like me because I liked you.
I will like you too. You want me to just PM me your YouTube channel. I'll like all your videos.
Hey Charles, if we can dive in on that SV11 comment, I'm working on mine with similar issue right now. I mentioned it a while ago. I just finally got back to it.
Okay.
If you put the engine in with the spacers, the 1/8" motor bases,
right?
Whether they're phenolic or aluminum, doesn't matter. 1/8 is 1/8. Your spinner ring is a 1/16 of an inch out of whack.
Okay.
And I was just about to go pull my other SV11 kit and open it up for the first time and see if it's the same, drop the same engine in. So what I'm doing right now, actually, while we're talking, is designing out a jig that I can make a plate to go over and mill down my engine bearers and tank mount a 1/16 of an inch with a router using a pattern bit. But
oh my gosh.
before I do that, check and make damn certain that my thrust line is exactly on my wing line.
Right.
The longitudinal datum.
Right.
So, like, it makes me suspicious that it's out 1/16 of an inch here. What else is out of whack? So before I do the assembly on this thing, I'm going to make damn certain that it's bang on in every axis.
Right. What about
So he might
replacing
want to
the
check
top
that,
block?
put a washer or something.
You know, Robert,
Top block? How do you mean, Charles?
You're
Well, I
right
mean,
about that.
You're lowering the surface of the engine bearers, right, to get the spinner in alignment with the nose ring.
The problem I have, I'll show you with the engine.
Okay.
Yeah, the problem I have, it's easy enough for me to use a thinner shim, and I can bring it down easily enough to level with no shim, or just a 1/16 of an inch of shim.
Okay.
If I use the 1/8 inch block. It's low. It leaves a 1/16 of an inch protrusion, which also throws the cowl ring off. Now, if I omit that, then I don't have tank adjustment. So it's one or the other.
You know what you want to
If I
do?
omit that, then I won't be able to do one means of tank adjustment.
So I'm thinking McMaster is selling all kinds of aluminum. And you can buy it in strips of 1/16 by 3.5 inch or 3/8, whatever you have over there, and just glue it and drill it.
Oh, I've got all that, Troy, and it's not a problem. I have a sheet of 16th aluminum. I got a sheet of 1/8 inch 6061. I've got a sheet of 16th inch whatchamacallit.
That's where all our road signs have been getting.
I'm drawing a blank here. Old timers disease. Anyway, there's no problem on that sort of thing. It's just that it's out of whack for. If I do that, then I'll only have a 1/16 of a tank adjustment versus a potential 1/8 inch. Like, it's easy enough to change the engine shim. That's nothing. But then it affects the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So if I rig up a jig to mill it exactly right, which isn't a big deal because I got 2 of them to do potentially.
Don't you have a mill?
Then I figured it'd be worth the effort at this stage rather than fighting around with washers and spinners and everything later.
Yeah. Don't you have a mill?
But, you know, it'll take an hour of my life to do it.
That's no big deal.
Anyway, for that guy with the SV11 that he's needing washers and stuff, he might want to check that his engine bearers are actually in line to start with.
Yeah, I think what Robert, I think what it was Top Brent. Who was it?
Anyway, that's all I got to say on it. I'll make it work.
Well, I just want to clarify something. I think what John Miller had told this gentleman was to give the motor down thrust. So he was adding the washer to give the motor down thrust so that the plane will just settle in and fly flat, whether it be upright or inverted.
Or possibly it's built with up thrust start if it's hard.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering with this discrepancy I have with mine, with this one. I haven't checked the other one yet. I haven't even opened the box. But if
They're all the
I got a
same,
discrepancy in alignment with the nose ring, it's possible that the mounts aren't aligned correctly up and down or to start with.
That's bone stock.
So anyway, I'll find out and report back.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, that'd be.
Because I'll refer to the the wing.
I use the supplied pads, and yes, the spinner is a little low on the nose ring.
As I'm going to set mine up, my motor mounts 0-0 to the wing cord.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, the motor is a little low on the nose ring. Yeah.
That's what it looks like if you do it stock.
Which could be either they glued it.
Lord, that is thin.
Hey, John.
Sorry about.
Okay.
Well, we're losing people left, right, and center here.
Sorry about that. I had a computer glitch show up there when I tried to stop sharing, and I wound up dumped a lot of things. Had to go back out, come back in, and then I dumped all my saved tabs, for like Stunt Hangar and all that. So I had to go on a campaign to find everything. But I'm back.
You're back. Well, John, while I have you, Greg Biswick wanted to compliment you. Let me tell you what he said. He said, "Thank you to John Miller for the suggestion he made 3 or so weeks ago. I put a washer under the front mounts of my SV11, and it just sits where it is put, inverted and level flight. Sits in the groove."
I told him. That's one of the things that Bob
Whiteley
taught me.
Yeah. And then Craig also goes on to say, he says, "John, regarding the stalker, I think he's talking about your 4 bits. Are you putting it inverted or at 270 degrees or something else?"
Inverted. I put a lot of them inverted. They were run just fine there.
Yeah, I never like those motors just sticking out the top. Even though I'm kind of partial to the way that the Sharks are doing sideways.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. The sideways.
But they have the cowl chicks on the side, which is totally cool.
Yeah,
I like this. I don't like the looks
too.
of it.
I want to do it one day.
I think the Sharks are using a Discovery Retro engine. And the Discovery Retro doesn't like to run inverted. And you don't want all that mess sticking straight up. It runs real well on its side. That's why almost every Discovery Retro that's on a serious stunt ship is mounted sidewinder.
Now, okay, yeah.
Hey, Tom.
I think one of the Moon Brothers has a plane with the Discovery Retro that's down.
Does he?
Well, you guys, let me finish catching up. I'm behind.
I think it's sideways.
It's sideways?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm wrong then.
Steve Moon. And those
I've been wrong before, believe it or not.
the retros have a real short muffler, and that's what in a Shark it sticks in. That's what's inside the cowl, and it has a little hole in the cheek cowl where the exhaust comes out.
Yes,
rear exhaust.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, while I got it, but I have a question.
All righty.
This plane I'm flying is one that Mike Waldron gave me. It's a real light SV11. So we have a lot of SV11s here. One of the problems this plane has that Mike didn't like it, and that's why he gave it to me. Plus, it was way out of trim. When the wind comes up, this thing is just like on steroids when with whipping. Not whipping, but as you do your maneuvers, it really speeds up. I mean, seriously speeds up. I'm running a, it's not a glow, it's a KR timer. But when it's calm, it doesn't have that at all. But when it gets windy, I mean, I know you always get a little bit of that in the wind anyway, but this one is really bad.
Try an active timer.
Yeah. Electric shouldn't do that.
Well, a KR timer is an active timer. It just doesn't go to an accelerometer. It has 2 leads that go to the motor. Which
check your sensitivity and see where the sensitivity is. If it's above,
it doesn't have sensitivity on that one.
Yeah, it's got a gain.
It's got a gain. Mine does. Make sure your gain's not above 4, because I had mine on 6 and it was crazy. And I put it down to 4 and it's very manageable now.
Yeah, mine's at 4 now.
Try 3.
Yeah, probably less. But you know, it worries you a little. If you get it down too low, then you're not going to get much boost, and you know.
Well, do you really need it?
Well,
do you really need much boost? I mean, seriously.
Not really. Not as fast as I fly this thing, I don't think so.
Yeah, I had kind of similar problem with what you have, you know, because I had too much. Well, obviously, I have a different timer, but had the more sensitivity into it, and it was charging on upline. I'll put a nose up, the more kicking it, just accelerate and shoot up like a rocket.
Yeah, Igor. You have an Igor timer?
Yes. Yeah, it's the Igor. But Fioroti is more manageable, from what I understand. The Fioroti has additional settings built into it. You can set up the up line and a down line.
I know. Oh, really? That's good.
And I think for $80, it's worth every penny, man.
Well, I've got 2 Igor systems now. Wayne has a couple of Fiorettis. One of the main things I liked about the Fioretti is that it has a light on the side, unlike
yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah, that's how I lost my top 20 ship when Wayne was flying it. We were doing little 2-minute test runs, and the 2 minutes got away from him, and you know, in a bad spot.
Oh man, that sucks. That really sucks. Yeah.
Well, I still got the wing and the tail feathers, so I'm putting it back together here. Not the same one, not exactly the same. Our new fuselage design. I'm putting that wing in.
Yeah.
So Jim, regarding the wind up or whip up, go ahead, Robert. Go ahead.
Christmas all over again. A brand new first opening of an SV11 kit.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Everything's still factory sealed. So I'm going to check out these motor mounts and see how they compare to my other one that I'm doing.
Sounds good. Hey Jim,
I
have a question regarding your plane speeding up. He's asking, what pitch do you have on your SV11? What pitch prop?
I've run a Igor 12.5 3-blade, and I've also am running a Zor 12.6 wood right now, and it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of difference.
Except in a pocket.
What's that?
About $40-50 in a pocket.
Yeah, the Zor prop works really good. It really does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I tell you when you're going to really love the Zor prop over the 3-blade. What I have found, I had to have a 3-blade. I mean, I had to have a 3-blade, so I finally got it. And we went out one day, and I'd been flying 2-blade, and the weather got the way it had been most of the summer. It got just no wind at all, hot as all get out, and just stale air. You flew the 3-blade, and you were flying through your own crap so bad, the plane was dancing all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Switch back to the 2-blade prop. Felt like he's flying in a 5-mile-an-hour wind compared to what it had been. If you're ever out flying and it gets too choppy, take the 3-blade off, put the 2-blade back on it. You'll be amazed.
Yeah, I've flown both, and the 3 blades do seem to be a little more sensitive to dead air. You know, I guess they got 3 blades. They're churning up more stuff for you to fly through. So
yeah. I don't know why I say that with Mike listening, because I got to fly against that rascal. But anyway, he's good. He's getting
good.
His son's getting dangerous. Oh Lord, look at this.
What you got there, Steve?
Hey, Steve.
It's a thrust meter.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I thought it was your fishing pole for ice fishing.
It made, yeah. You know what? It would tell you how big a fish you had on.
Yeah.
Automatic.
Now, would that work for a glow engine too, Steve?
No, it's made for electric, but you can still test IC props and stuff. But I've been watching some stuff on YouTube, and you'd be surprised on different props how much difference there is in thrust. at the same RPMs.
Yeah.
For efficiency and stuff like that. And motors. Different electric motors. They said ESCs too, but I'll be able to check all that. But I still gotta reinforce the sides of it. And then I'll be able to use it.
So we'll have to drive all the way to Michigan to test out our props and our motors, huh?
Well,
we got to go up there and aggravate Steve anyway. I mean,
yeah, you can do that, or you can send them to me in the mail, and I'll tell you if a Zor prop produces more thrust than a APC or whatever. But what I've been seeing so far with these guys doing it, the master air screw actually develops more thrust on an electric, the electric master air screw.
Really?
Yeah.
I know the black ones for ICs we used to think was junk.
I know
it. Yeah, we did.
And you know,
youngsters.
I tried one master air screw electric, and I liked it. It just didn't last very long. But I never tested it really. But it's hard to believe on some of the motors that they're testing on what works best and what doesn't. That's like, has anyone ever heard of a Sunny Sky electric motor?
Yeah.
That black?
Yeah.
Sunny Sky.
A lot of foamy guys use them. And
that's one of the best
bigger ones. And they're nice.
Yeah.
They're,
it's one of the best.
Yeah, it's a good motor
for producing power, but they're hand wound, and I guess that makes a difference. But a lot of them they're testing on there that say that they produce 1,000 watts, or producing like 800 is as most as they can get out of them. And this will actually test the kV of a motor, and the kV will be way off and stuff like that. But so far the rimfire actually puts out more power than it says it has. And everybody says a rimfire is, you know, just overpriced and stuff like that, but it actually thrust per watt or whatever is a lot. You get a lot more thrust per watt out of a rimfire. But that's why I want to try the Badass. And you know, from what I'm seeing is that the Cobras don't test out well at all.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
If you run across one, would you please test out a Zingali 3-blade? I had one, and it couldn't get out of its own way. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that what I'd like to know what the efficiency rating is.
They're heavy props, ain't they, John?
They're not that heavy.
No.
I think I had like a 9.6 I was running on a 20 IC engine. And I mean, I want to put in a 9.6 2-blade on it. Not a problem. Had all the power I needed. The Zingali I could hardly take off. This is on an RC plane. Could hardly take off.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it. I got it set up so it can turn to a 14-inch prop. I didn't think I'd have to go any higher than that. Yeah, Charles.
I just want you to finish, but next is Tryon. He has a question. So after you finish, Steve, go ahead.
Actually, not a question. You guys, I'm making like a simple molded part of balsa wood, and I think I did it before. You think it'd be people would be interested to see that?
I'm sure they would.
Oh, show and tells are great. They are. But Steve, did you finish, Steve? I didn't sure if I heard you right. Did you finish?
Yeah, so I guess if anybody wants a prop tested or a motor or whatever, you send it to me. I'll test it and send it back. Because I don't have the money to test every single electric motor out there and stuff like that. But for the ones I have, I'm going to test and
You can test ESCs as well, Steve.
Yep, I can do ESCs.
I'm curious to know what those badass ESCs, how they compare to a Jetty Spin or a Schultz.
I talked to, I'm going to say Ivan, but it's not Ivan, that owns Innovative 8.
Lucian.
Huh?
Lucian Miller.
Lucian, that's it, Lucian. I talked to him and was talking to him about all the ESCs. He said the fastest one that he carries is the Cobra with the silver sticker on it. And but he said that he goes, you realize that he goes, the cheapest ones turn about 50 milliseconds compared to like their fast silver one is 400. But he said at 50 milliseconds, that'll react in half a rotation of the prop, turning at 11,000 RPM. Whoa. He said, he goes, you're talking about millionths of a second. 50
Lucian
millionths of a
does
second.
not fly control line.
Huh?
I've flown with Lucian before. He belonged to our club here in Tampa.
Yeah.
And he's a radio control flyer. So he doesn't relate well to control line. And, you know, people can say whatever they want, but I can tell you that there's a difference in ESCs. Even though it's milliseconds, when you're flying, you will see a difference. It's just like with a Schultz or a Jetty Spin. Those are from my understanding so far, those are the two fastest ESCs there are. And I can tell you, like the KR timer, he tells you that one doesn't use an accelerometer, hooks up to the motor. And he says that's the fastest way to get a response. But that's directly tied to your ESC, I would think. That ESC has to be telling it something.
Yeah.
So,
well, I have a KR and Trayan's got a Jetty in his. And when I flew Trayan's plane for the first time, I couldn't believe how much faster it reacted to my KR.
oh yeah, they're Schultz is like that too, but a Schultz will only do a 5-cell. They're both real expensive ESCs, and you know, Lucian would tell you that, you know, oh well, it doesn't really, you know, it's a half a proper rotation or whatever, but you know, it's what you feel on the end of the handle that counts.
Well, he said that the silver one is the fastest, and that's done for helicopters. And
I think that Schultz, Will Hubin had to, when I first got into electric, we had him do a special programmer for a Schultz. And he did some testing on them. And I think he told me that a Schultz is like 5,000 milliseconds. You know, something like that compared to 400. That's a huge difference. You know, it's, again, we're talking milliseconds, so you wouldn't think it'd be that much, but I don't know. I know from the handle side, though, you will see a difference.
because what I called and asked him about was for the quadcopter one. And he says that's absolutely the fastest, but to use it, you'd have to add a BSE circuit.
Yeah.
And I don't know how hard that would be.
A BEC circuit.
Huh?
It's a battery eliminator circuit.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's what powers them. When we ran our retracts in our stunt chips, we had to put in a BEC circuit.
A BC is also what powers your timer.
Yeah, right. And that's why we had to put it in, because the timer had the retract function, but it didn't have any power.
Sorry, guys. Let me bother him because I can't wait any longer. I have some stuff going on here. So what I'm using 2 sheets of 1/16 because they hold their shape. And I'm using some plain Elmer's wood glue. So what I've done, I just put it and I smear it with my fingers like this, just make sure everything is nice and uniform. And because these are already soaking wet in water, it's going to thin out the glue anyway. So it's not going to take a whole lot of glue. And I'm just putting the 2 sheets on top of each other before I mold them. And as you walk your fingers across, I mean, this is like, it takes all the air bubbles out, so they're going to kind of stick together from now on. And I put saran wrap on this guy. Guess it? It's just saran wrap on top of the mold. Right. And from this point on, this is a simple mold. And I'm just going to just put it on top of this, like this. Simple.
Is that a leading edge mold, Fred?
No, it's a top block for the rear of the fuselage.
Okay, turtleneck.
Yeah, it's a turtleneck. And once I have it centered, I'm just using some pins. I'm just putting a couple, 2-3 pins through it so it doesn't shift sideways here, right?
Right.
So let me get a couple more. All right, so especially on the back side, I don't want it to shift. So I'm going to put 2 pins on the back side.
Tran, what are you making? You said something about building a stiletto. Is that it?
No, it's a Vector.
It is a Vector.
I said I would like to build a stiletto.
So yeah, me too. One of these days.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm starting. I like to start on the part that curves the least, like the front part, and I leave the back for the later. So here we go. And I'm going to remove this pin because the front is already locked in position. And I'm just going to walk it across pretty fast. I want to keep most of this Ace Band-Aids.
What are you using for tape there, for wrapping?
Ace Band-Aids.
It's one of those new style Ace Band-Aids. The new ones stick different.
I guess so.
They've actually changed them.
So yeah, this is I take this from the CVS pharmacy, the cheapest stuff they have over there. It's called a flexible Band-Aid, and just go for it. So the pins are kind of holding it in place, and if I'm a little bit off, it's no big deal. Okay, so I'm removing these pins here.
How long do you soak your sheets for?
Just water.
I know, for how long?
Huh?
For how long?
It's just maybe 10 minutes or so. You're going to feel them. They're very soaking wet. And the good part of it, look how tight the back is.
Yeah.
It's nearly nothing over there. And guess what? Because you take 2 little sheets like this, they will not split, especially if you soak them pretty good in wood. I mean, in water.
Yeah, we always heard you had to have all the stuff in it, but just plain water works well.
Yep, that's all I did here. So watch this. This is at the very back of it. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Just bent right around there.
No split, no nothing. And this is like over like a 1/8 inch over there on the back side. And
nice trying.
And I'm just going to take the rest of it and come back forward. And after I do all this stuff, what I want to do, I kind of work it with my hands, like kind of squeeze it to make sure it's sitting against the mold. Do you guys remember the last time I did that mold? I don't remember how far ago it was when I molded the other shell.
Yeah, I remember.
Was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. About a month ago.
Huh?
More than a month ago.
More than a month ago, exactly. This is the shit. It never changed shapes.
Wow.
It's still in the same shape when I molded it back a month ago.
That's pretty
That's the
neat.
value of having lamination of 2 layers, because they hold each other and will hold a shape. They don't want to bounce back. You know, they don't give you like a starving horse kind of look to a model. And so this is the biggest lesson, you know. Now, if you had the whole fuselage side of a whole fuselage made out of foam, whatever you're gonna make the plug out of, right? You could definitely get 2 of these on top of each other and make a whole fuselage shell. And another trick here, right? Say you want to build a half A plane. Well, for a half A plane, you just use this backside of it, right? Because they're much narrower, much smaller planes, right?
Right.
And say you want to have, say you want to cut it. Sake of argument, say you want to cut it like this, right? Okay. So what you do when you put it on the table, just lift the front up and use the X-Acto knife and cut it flat in here. Make sense?
The one you glued on that.
Lift the back side up. It's either way. If you make a full-size fuselage, then you use the whole thing. If you use a 40-size plane, you might want to stop here somewhere. Or depends how the plane looks. I mean, like one mold can do multiple things.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one plane only. So that's the cool part of this. So,
what did you make your foam, your mold out of? Foam?
Actually, I used the original balsa block they were in a kit, and I just made that as a mold. Instead of using the balsa block and hollow it, I just did a one-time mold out of it, and that's it. Now I can use this as many times as I want to on different planes.
Mm-hmm.
And most of our planes have the same width on the nose, the taper kind of like that, kind of equal. And you can really work this one, open it up a little bit, close it up a little bit if you have to, right? Because it has a little bit of squish to it, or you can open it up a little bit to make it fit whatever, you know.
Okay.
But if you plan ahead, you know, this should be fine. This is like, it's going to be like this.
Nice Tryon.
So this is it. And that's what I've done earlier here. This is a bottom block. So I just got lucky with this bottom block because it's exactly the length of the balsa. I really maxed it out here. The front is here and the back is here. So anyways, but this is very nice, a very nice way of doing it. I mean, if you make, and these shells don't weigh much, right? I think this shell is a nose shell, and I think I put it on a scale. I don't know how much. If I can zero the scale and tell you how much it really is, if you guys are curious.
We're curious.
Yeah, we're always curious.
It's about 35 grams.
When it comes to weight,
8 grams.
How much?
8.5. 8.5. And just for reference,
wow,
this is 12 inches. So we look at a 12 and 4, about 16 inches long piece. That is full fuselage width, which is 2.5 or so. Wow. So
a third of an
do
ounce.
the math. You know, it's like if this is 8 grams, I mean, you can make a fuselage, a whole fuselage side, by just getting several sheets of balsa and patch them up together and put them in there in one shell.
Never realized.
And if you make like a cigar shape to it, it's very easy to mold, and it's very strong as well. And if you make you put a piece of plywood here on the bottom, underneath the mold, you know the height at which you want to cut, and you just put a razor blade on a piece of plywood, and you just set the mold flat. I mean, your whole fuselage side, you can set it flat out like this on a table, and you get your your razor blade that to be glued on the top of a block of some sort, right?
Right.
Say, just for sake of argument, say you glue it like this, right? See that?
Right.
And you just put it over here and just walk it around.
Right. Yeah.
And you have a perfect straight parting line. And you get your two shells, put them together. You have the fuselage done and doesn't weigh anything. And if you have the compound like a cigar shape, you don't really need formers inside. Not really. I mean, when you put the wing inside and you glue the wing to the fuselage, you stop it from doing this squishing in and out. And the same on the stabilizer. And between them, you don't really need much of anything over there. You just put the controls in and that's it. It's light construction, easy, and perhaps might be the easiest way to do it with a balsa construction kind of thing.
I'll take 5, Tryon.
Yeah. You had me sold too. I'll take a couple of them.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you want to make an SV, a Spitfire, or whatever, and just make a mold with. Just take a bandsaw and just cut the side view of the fuselage. Put some formers, build it with foam in between, shape it up nicely or something like that as best as you can, and that's it. You're ready. You put some saran wrap on top of it, get your balsa wood, just soak it down and lay it down, and put ace band-aids. Boom, done.
There's a lot to be said for that. If you were settled on one design, like if you were going to fly one type of airplane for, let's just say 5 years, and you were going to build 2 or 3 of them over 5 or 6 years. Because, I mean, a lot of people say, pick a design, stick with it, fly it, learn it.
Yeah.
Make each one a little better than the previous one.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for repetition on flying the same type of model, because there's proven stunt designs out there. Okay. There's a lot of proven stunt designs, other than maybe wanting something that looks different. There's a lot of planes that fly very similar that are all great airplanes. So other than wanting to have a different type of airplane, I think flying the same type of airplane, the same design for years will get you a long way, So if you were going to do that, you can mold bucks to make them lighter and better and, be able to crank them up. That's beneficial.
And on the same token, if you want to go even further than that with the thinking process, you could probably even go as far as saying, well, I'm going to make the fuselage a little bit longer. I don't know where I'm going to put my wings and stuff like that, but I can move them around, right? Maybe you make a plane with the tail more forward, like what you used to. Maybe you want to build the next one a little bit longer, stuff like that. You can always clip the backside of it and make it longer, sure, or whatever, adapt a little bit. Or you can do just the turtle deck, and instead of having like a canopy shape to mold, which is a pain in the ass to do, and I'll say stay away from that. You can just take you mold this shape for the turtle deck, and you go you cut the wood over there in that section, and goes over turtle deck, and then on the nose area kind of thing, right? And just put your own canopy over there. You can change canopy shapes, position of the canopy, whatever, maybe a different rudder shape or something like that. But basically, the fuselage is kind of the same, and has a lot of versatility.
Yep.
I've got a couple of Yashinko molds I'm working on, one for a GB and one for a Shark. And the GB, I'm going to just, the shape of that wing looks just like a Spitfire. So I'm just going to take the basic mold of the fuselage, and then I'll make another mold for the turtle deck and some of the other little parts I put on it. So sometimes it doesn't take much to, just modify or add on to something you have to make it look a lot different.
Yes, that's true. Put some color chicks around there. Just make it cool. Or make a different bottom underneath. I mean, just like it's cosmetic stuff mostly, right? But the idea is just to make it easy for yourself to build. I mean, it's like what is easier to have one mold that you? Oh, I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
I thought
No,
John
that's
was
all right.
waving at me, so I'm waving back.
I'm interested in enjoying what you're saying, Trent. It just I wanted to interject with what Mike was saying about, building 3, 4, 5, sticking with one design and that kind of. Brett Buck, when I first met him about 20 years ago, was flying his first Infinity, and he's taken a lot of ribbing about that airplane over the years. I call it four billboards flying in formation, because it's got huge side area and big, lots of area. Anyway, but he's done very well with it. Each one, he's done just what Mike said. He's improved. He's tried things out. He had a posting here a week or two ago about his foray with the Infinities, and I think he says that his third one, or I think it was his third or his fourth one, was the best one. But he's up to number 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that now. The point being, though, is that many of the very best, most successful stunt pilots have stuck pretty close to one design. Ted Fancher with his Trivial Pursuit going on into Fitzgerald's version called the Thunder Gazer, same airplane.
Stargazer, Thunder Gazer, yes.
Yeah, and then there's
Les McDonald with stilettos.
Les McDonald. There's Paul Walker with the Impacts.
Yeah, you're right, John. That's something I picked up on, and that's why I kind of brought that up a little bit. Is it's not always, you build an airplane, it doesn't pan out for you for a year, and then you build something completely different, and you're kind of back to square one again with a brand new design, a brand new airplane. Like you said, a lot of the most successful guys have stuck with one design, maybe different iterations of it, but the same design, and really taken that over the years and fine-tuned it and tweaked it. I think hip-hopping around between different designs because you didn't do well with one for 1 or 2 seasons maybe isn't the problem. I mean, that's my thinking anyway.
I think you're right.
What's the brothers' name down there in Texas?
With the Moon Brothers?
The Moons?
Moon Brothers. The Moons. They have pretty well stuck with iterations of the same design.
Yeah, the Bear.
The Bear, yeah. And I mean, I'm looking at what I'm doing. I designed and built that big biplane, and I had problems with it in one particular area, and so I've set it aside. But I've been thinking about it a lot. What I can do, what I need to change. The one I'm going to build for this year, the 4 bits is a single wing version of the same airplane. So as an actual fact, I could make the molds up and mold up because it's the same fuselage for either one, the biplane or but I've got ideas on the biplane, things I need to do. I got to try shorter lines. I got to try different speed. I want to try electric in it because I need to have a well-regulated power. There's so much drag in a biplane that I'm noticing that going through the hard turns and the excess drag in there, I'm slowing down as I go through in that last corner is hell, So it's well worthwhile not to jump around. You may see one you like. It's okay to build one you like, but don't build it necessarily to take out as your competition airplane for the next season. Stick with what you know, play with the other things, see if it has any merit that you can interpret and bring in to your number 1 airplane.
Or you might get lucky like me.
Yeah, you did, you sucker. They're darn Romanians,
I think luck over skill anytime, right?
Yeah, it's those guys,
I see Jim is showing us
Picture
something.
show now.
These are, when we started out flying control line again, we came up with our tracer design, and we have been flying that plane ever since. And there's, we'll eventually get to one of them here, or a few of them. I think I showed them to you the other day. That's a repaired one. But these are the E-tracers. These are about the third ones. These had a little different tip. You know, you just play with stuff, but the planes all, you know, they're pretty true as far as how they fly. So like this is one of the earlier models here. This actually started as a pipe ship, and then it was converted to a electric. Has a little bit bigger wing, bigger tips on it, things like that. Really nice flyer. That was one of the best flying ones we had. Let me see if I can get down here and see some more. But we had, this was after this is a pipe ship conversion as well. So there's something to be said for just kind of stick with something, try something new on the next one, and then just keep going till you find the one that really, you know, you like how it flies. And that's a retract ship there after it was done.
You know, Jim, you made a point there. In actuality, in our subjects, the fuselage is there to hold the wing, the power, and the stab and elevator in alignment with each other. So you can do, you know, but it's the fuselage we often look at, and that's what we fall in love with. So if you could find you a good wing and flap and stab, elevator, and power, hey, they all will work on whatever fuselage you put it on. Just work with your relationships between those. You'll wind up, you're actually working on the same airplane each time you build one, with slight modifications, obviously, as you go along.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to Peter, you guys. Hey, Peter. Thanks for coming in. Peter. I just want you to know I did see you. I don't want you to feel I ignored you, but you went away for a while, and I missed you.
Appreciate the article, Peter. I did get it. It's on the Mo Best.
Ah, good airplane.
Oh, you sent it to me too. I got it too, Phil.
No, I still don't have your email address, Phil.
Do what?
I don't have your email address.
No, you did send it. I have it.
I did? Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
My brain's dead.
I've been there for a long time.
Mine's been a little mushy for a while. I got a question for John.
Are you taking off, Robert? Are you taking off, Robert?
I will be shortly. Yeah, shortly. I just want to give a quick follow-up on that SV11.
Okay.
The second kit is identical to the first. The motor mount is out of whack. And so I'm not going to mill it or anything until I install a wing and stab and do a datum check on it. And incidence checks compared to bearers and probably the arcs. The electric one also has a similar problem with motor mount fitment. Two guys here bought the complete Brodak package with the Brodak electric motor and all that. And the motor sticks forward about 3/16 of an inch, this ugly gap. Now, Daryl made an auxiliary motor mount basically and shimmed it back. And Neil didn't, and there's this big ugly gap on it. So there seems to be some inconsistencies in these SV11s. So I'm going to be a bit extra fussy putting it together to see if I run into any other irregularities. And what I'll do is hold off on, I'll make a universal sort of jig, an adjustable jig for milling it, the mounts to what I want. But I'll hold off till I get the stab and wings and everything all in a fixture, and then set the motor mount fixture so that I get it bang on for an incidence. Because especially with someone saying that they needed to put down thrust in it, they might not have actually been putting down thrust. They might have been bringing it to neutral. Looking at this inconsistency, I'm just not trusting the Brodak ARF made in China totally for fitment.
Hey,
Anyway,
Robert,
that's all I got to report right now.
I have something to say about the electric part.
Hopefully that might be helpful to.
Well, I got something to say
get one
about
of
the
these.
SV too. So,
All right, here you go. Can I show you something?
Yeah, hang on a second, Tryon. Hey, Daryl, did you mention? I mean, Robert, did you mention Daryl of Hogs and Plains?
Yeah.
Well, tell him to come back. I haven't seen him in over a year.
Actually, it was Daryl I got my smoothie from.
Well, ask Daryl if he'll come back in.
I know. I was talking to him about a month ago, and he says he keeps meaning to, and then. Yeah, he's been working his butt off, though, so he's been pretty distracted, I think, grabbing it while you can. And so he's been thinking about all of us. He just hasn't come in. So I'll nag at him again here soon.
Yeah, tell him I miss him. Tell him I'd like to have him come back. It'd be great. If he just pop in once in a while, it'd be awesome.
All right. So what I wanted to say is, can I take over the here? Watch this. All right, watch this. Sometimes electric motors have this ring in the front. Okay. This is just a safety ring in case you mount it on the back and you put the prop over here, so it doesn't fly out, right?
Okay.
But if you mount it like this, like on an SV and the propeller's over here, you can take this ring off. And that's going to buy you another quarter of an inch.
I'll mention that to Neil.
Hmm?
I'll mention that to Neil. That might be all it is.
Yeah. See if his motor has the same ring in here, because mine has it. Okay?
Yeah,
that's all I have to say. Sometimes you can remove this.
Thanks, Tryon. That's a good suggestion.
Okay.
No. And I would just like to add something on the SV11 ARF from Brodak. I think it's a pretty capable airplane, even with its misgivings. Mine are the same way, Robert. The spinner sits a little bit low. The motor's a little low, like you said, a 16th if you use the supplied pads in there to keep from crushing the motor mounts. But having flown one most of last year and finishing in the top 3 in advanced with it at every contest I've been to, it's a pretty capable airplane. I won't say that it is perfect in every way, because I don't know. I'm not that level of pilot, but it doesn't have any bad characteristics. I haven't noticed that it's like thrown my pattern in the tank, or that it's super hard to fly or to keep level. It doesn't hunt. It does everything it's supposed to do. And for an ARF, I think we're kind of nitpicking on something that's made in China and expecting it to be, better than it is for what it is and the cost of it. Certainly, if you're going to build something yourself, you're going to make sure that those kind of things line up better and they're there. But I think it's a pretty damn capable airplane, and any misgivings that it has because of those slight imperfections are negligible considering what you're getting for the money.
Here.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you, Mike.
I'm not concerned about its ability. I've seen several of them fly. Everyone's really happy with them. And I'm not concerned about the capabilities to fit on it, to finish. The quality of it is way better than the smoothie ARF I have. Like, way better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see signs of hot glue being used for assembly and all that. The hinges, I wasn't happy. Big deal. So you replace them with K-Vans or Klets or whatever. But that little detail like that being out of whack in the spinner, that'd bug me forever as long as I had the airplane.
I think you're splitting hairs there. I think you're splitting hairs over something that in the big picture for a $200 ARF doesn't really matter.
I agree. In the big picture, it doesn't matter, Mike. But for me, for doing 2 of them, it's worth making a jig and just take care of that. I have a drawer full of routers. It's not really a big deal to do, to shave off a 16th
Hey,
of an
one
inch
thing
off
I
the
would say
air.
about those SV11s is that the guys down here that have them, they're swapping some of the controls out. Could you see anything of your controls?
I called Randy Smith, and I built mine bone stock because I called Randy Smith, who, you know, Randy was integral in the design of it. This was his baby. He was involved with Brodak when they made these kits. He made all the recommendations, and all the prototypes were sent to him before they started producing them. I had read all the chatter online about people saying, you know, the hardware this, the hardware that, whatever. And some of the first version of it, yes, was different. The one with the wing mounted gear, they had a lot of issues with that. But the second version of it with the fuselage mounted gear is much better. But I had many long conversations with Randy. I mean, it's a good bell crank in there. It's bushed with brass. I mean, it's got a brass sleeve in it. It has good solid crimps on it. The carbon fiber push rod that was supplied with it, I beefed it up with a little JB weld, you know, but I used the supplied ball links and everything else because the guy who designed the damn thing said, Mike, the stuff in the kit is good. I signed off on it. It's good. I built it bone stock. I got over 100 flights on it this year. I have no issues with it whatsoever. So I didn't switch anything out because I believe the guy that had it built in China and had the prototypes in his hand. If Randy says it's good, that's good enough for me.
I agree, Mike.
One of the issues a couple of guys have had here is not the control system, it's the lead outs, Chinese wire. And I had a guy had the lead out break right off. Your lead out guide had a wire failure. Now maybe it was just a wire failure. You know, I mean, you do get bad stuff, but every now and then. But
was it one of the new ones, or was it the first generation or the second generation? One of the new ones. Okay. I mean, they have pretty good-looking, solid crimps on them, man, and they're done the right way too.
No, the wire actually failed.
The wire itself. Okay. I don't know.
Trans method with the what's that material starts with a K, Tran?
Kevlar.
Kevlar lead outs.
You can bend them all you want, they will never break.
Well, yeah, you're right. But I mean, I don't know. The system looks good to me. I haven't had any issue with it. So
yeah.
I can't see anything with that with the lead outs. The control themselves, the control arms themselves don't have any bearings, so I put some on them. That wasn't a big deal. And all the hardware looks really good. The hinges, like I said, I really didn't like those Tyvek sort of things, so I'm using, you know, a knuckle type hinge, but that's personal preference. The only thing in the control system, and it's so minor, is the push rod from the bell crank to the flap horn. On mine is really soft wire, so I'm going to replace that. That's so minor, though. It's a big deal.
You know what I do?
Grab a chunk off the shelf and put it on.
One of the things I do for that bell crank to flap horn connection is I'll use a piece of 1/8 inch wire with an 1/8 inch ID carbon fiber rod glued over the top of it to stiffen it up.
Yeah.
They do not.
That's what I've done a lot of times too.
Yeah. And you know, I use threaded rod so I can just thread the stuff in, you know. It works real well.
But I don't really see much, you know, it's nitpicking anything on the SV11 kits. A couple areas, the instructions are slightly vague, but anybody with a touch of experience should have a bit before they go on an airplane like that anyway.
Oh, the instructions are horrible. I'll agree. The instructions are horrible, man. If it was the first ARF you ever put together, you'd be lost.
Well,
They
actually,
do fly
it
well,
was the first ARF I ever put together. It really wasn't that difficult, Mike. But then again, I've built a lot of from scratch and stuff over the years. So
well, so have I. And I'm saying though, if it was the first ARF that somebody chose to put together, the instructions are very vague and very horrible.
Yeah.
There's a lot of measuring 4 times before you glue stuff in. You know, there's a lot of setting stuff in, looking at it, measuring it, looking at it, thinking about it, taking it out, putting back, looking at it again, measuring it. Because if you just follow the instructions that are in it, you're going to screw something up. I mean, having been a modeler definitely helps with that. It's not a rookie guy kit for sure.
My background is a cabin. I'm so into jigs and fixtures that that sort of thing makes it easy for alignment because you just grab whatever and you can make it easily. But a person starting out from scratch, they don't have that background. They don't have 30, 40 years of experience that way.
You guys, I'm going to come out in the left field, a totally different subject, but I'm just curious.
Let me say what I wanted to say then, because it's on the SV11.
Go ahead.
The SV11 was one of those pivotal designs that came around about the time people were making the switch from the the Super Tiger 60s into the piped era. They worked and are working as I mean, you want to put a Super Tiger 60 in one, it'll handle it. And it'll do a good job of it. If you want to put a piped engine in it, it'll handle it. It's a really a pivotal design and one that should be looked at closely if you're stepping your way up because it will fly better than you can. That's
yeah, and I'm running a Super Tiger 60. I mean, it's a 56, but it's for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same thing.
Other than the ARF being a little porky.
So hopefully, if a problem with these, I can put a Super Tiger 60 in it.
I'm sorry, Rob. You got a little bit of a delay there with your feed tonight, so I'm sorry for stepping over you. We got to wait. But go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, I was just saying that, I'm running essentially the equivalent of a Super Tiger 60. I've got a 56. Well, I got 2 of them. So that's what I'm running in mine, and it should be adequate for it. And if not, well, I'll hunt down a 60 or something else.
It'll
fit in those mounts.
That'll work fine, yeah.
That'll work fine. Long case 51.
But one of these came from Randy.
51 will work.
Randy runs a 41 in his, I think, or a Super Tiger 40 with a pipe. He says that
it's PA 40 with a pipe.
Yeah, PA 40 with a pipe will fly in his.
PA 51 with a pipe in Randy's.
Well, it's a great design.
It is.
It is. And the Brodak ARF is a little porky. They do come in a little porky, but as a first, like real full-bodied stunt ship or a first piped engine,
they're excellent.
Stunt ship as an ARF, I think the few little shortcomings outweigh.
Oh yeah.
I
had to open up the cowl quite a bit to fit it in, but it's more like a windy design then. But so what? That's extra cooling, and I put a reasonably generous exit for it. So and the head's exposed, so I shouldn't have any problems with this Super Tiger as far as cooling goes.
You won't be sad.
No, I think you'll like the way it flies once you get it in the air.
I have one with a Tiger 60, and
so anyway, guys, I got a long day tomorrow. Put my dad into a new seniors home, care home, and whatnot. So I think I'm going to get some shut eye. So good night, all, and thanks for hosting this, Charles.
Hey, thank you for coming in.
Good night. Have a great one.
Good night.
See you Friday.
All right,
All right, I got a quick question before John gets out. Before I have to get out of here, actually. John, you were saying that you use Rust-Oleum Painter's Choice, which is water-based. What do you use over that? What clear do you use?
Dope.
Clear
I
dope.
believe you could use. I believe with that paint you could use probably just about anything except for polyacrylic, because polyacrylic isn't really fuel-proof.
Well, I think
I have used dope over it.
Clear.
I've used dope over it with no problem.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use automotive paint out of a spray can.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little bitty airplane, and I just want to get it finished up and get it flying. And I want to try it and see what happens.
Well, try it on a piece of scrap first, just to make sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. But I wanted to use the Rust-Oleum because it sticks to plastic, as in monocoat. I'm gonna put it on monocoat and see what happens. So
automotive clear will stick to anything.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do then.
Just be careful with that spray can. Be far away, man. That clear coat is heavy.
Oh crap! The white came out. I couldn't believe how thick the white came out. I was holding it about 10, 12 inches back, and I ended up holding it back here so far. I was really afraid it was gonna be dry before it hit the plane. But golly, that stuff comes out thick.
Yeah, you need to spray that stuff with an airbrush. Really, it's what you need.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do next time. I bought the spray cans, but I learned next time it will be airbrushed because I have a few airbrushes.
Yeah,
I have everything from the old cheap Badger to the 100 to 200 to 250. The first one you pull and push back, and then I've got a Pache, and I've got two others. I don't even remember what the name of them is. Airbrushes I got. Common sense, I'm fresh out.
We're all fresh out of that.
Airbrush.
Well, you'll like that painter's touch, that water-based. At least I sure did. But if you're spraying over a floor or something, be sure and put some visqueen or something plastic down, because what falls will stick to the linoleum and you can hardly get it out.
It sticks to the cement too, I found out.
Yep, it sticks to anything it gets in touch with.
Yeah, I had a wrench laying out there, and now it's got white speckles all over my 1/2-inch wrench. That's okay. It'll be all right.
Charles, what was your left field thing?
Well, I was watching the Super Bowl, but it just applies to even movies. When you watch these movies, it could be a sporting event or there's like a trophy presentation, and I was watching it and I was going, wow, I just love that feeling, when I see that moment in the movie or in a real sport event. Of course, we don't get any sort of trophy presentation at these contests, but I was just wondering, do you guys feel that special feeling, kind of like, man, it's like, yeah, when I win the state championship or when I win the nationals, it's kind of like, that's kind of how I'm going to feel when you see these trophy presentations. Do you guys ever kind of, when you watch a movie or actual event, you kind of go back to maybe how it's going to be when I finally win the Nats or the World Championship?
Always. It's always good to win in not just model airplanes, but anything that you're passionate about, time in with. When you get to stand on the podium, man, it's good. It always feels good. For me, I feel most proud when I watch Sam get up there and get his trophies, man. I'm just, when you see your kids excelling at stuff. But don't get me wrong, it feels good when I'm up there too, man.
The guys that say that it don't bother me to lose and it doesn't do anything, I don't care, winning is just winning. Then why do you do it? I mean, be honest with yourself. Why do you do it then? You do it because you want to take a chance to win. You want to try to win. And you darn right it feels good. If it didn't, we wouldn't try so hard to do it.
It's an affirmation of all your hard work.
As Jim Lynch once said, and Jim Lynch is a guy that if Jim Lynch starts talking, I start listening because Jim knows his stuff. As Jim Lynch once said, kicking butt is my fun.
Yeah.
So Mike, on the same token, I get a lot of pleasure when I share my playing with other people, because it's my work into it and stuff like that. And then when I see their smile on their faces, that you can't wipe it off after that, because
That's worth
No,
it.
That's an
I
amazing
agree
airplane.
100%. I love putting a combat plane in somebody's hand who hasn't flown one since the 60s or 70s, you know, and I put them on a speed limit plane and I see the grin on their face and I love it, you know. I love it. Sharing that with somebody else. But no, Charles, yeah, you know, you see Brady getting his 7th ring last night, and I thought, you know what, that's kind of how I felt when I won intermediate at the Nats 5 years ago. You know, it was right there. You know, yeah, you feel good about it. You relish those moments when you win. It's not
1996.
Yeah.
Well, how about last year, Tryon? You won the advance. You won advance at the Nats. I mean, that's like so huge.
Yeah,
I had to watch it on YouTube.
I
I had
mean,
to watch it on YouTube, but we at least got to see
felt
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it felt great. You know, it's really a great thing. But then it's like, after that, I was thinking about like, what the heck did I just do? Now I'm gonna have to go with the big sharks. And I have to step it up a little bit.
He's got to swim in the deep end of the pool now.
Yeah, he's going to do well there.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm in a different pool of flyers, and I need to find a little cranny where I can hide before they're gonna chew my ass off.
Well, I'll tell you, see, all you guys, you're all stunt guys. You're lucky. There's, you know, it is broken into love, but of course, everyone here is advanced or open flyer by now. But in some events, you don't get that choice. You know, there's not a beginner or intermediate class. You're just thrown in there with the sharks, man. That's how all the combat events are. There's no beginner class. You bring your gear. You bring your gear and you go out there and you fly against Nats winners and world champions, and you are thrown to the sharks, man.
Yeah.
You got the same equipment and you're going mano a mano, toe to toe, man to man, win, lose, or draw. You know, you got to stand there with the best sometimes.
And Sam did real good at the Nats with that, you know, that in mind.
Yeah. I tell you what, the kids do well in combat. At our last 4A here in Winston-Salem, there was a little girl from Tennessee. You may know her because she's from your area. She ran with the Nashville Rats. But anyway, she took off against Howard Rush. Now think about being in competition, your first big competition, and you got to go up against Howard Rush. He's out there in a clown suit and flying a monoboom with a rudder on it. I'm not going to say the name of the plane because I can't believe he named it something like that. But anyway, he goes out and he's flying, and Howard has just whipped everybody. And this girl takes off, and Howard takes off, and Howard's after her, and all of a sudden she does an outside loop and goes 4 inches off the ground and just stays right there. And Howard has to come after her. He's trying to get after her. He's really concentrating on getting on her tail as she comes by because he's going the other direction. He flips it upside down and comes after her inverted, and his rudder hits the grass. Whop. Okay, they get him back up. The little girl flies up, and she's flying right here. Well, Howard takes off again. She flips it back upside down and right on the deck again. Howard comes after again. He's coming after this way, and she's going this way. She comes up and gets his tail and gets a hit on him. Wow. He don't get hers. When he comes down to try to get her, he's in the grass again. Wow. Howard's over here scratching his head, but they put his plane up again. I couldn't believe the thing was still in one piece. The rudder was torn off of it, but it was still flyable. They put it up again, and this time Howard had it figured out. He was going to get her one way or another. So he come up. He's got no rudder anyway. He puts it back inside and comes up just bap, 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 and just chews her up. But he landed, and he said, "That's the toughest competition I've been up against in years."
Wow.
I think she was a 12-year-old girl. She was about 4 foot nothing.
Yeah,
cute as a button. But she got 2 kills on Howard Rush in her first combat match.
She's brand new, and he's a world champion, national champion combat guy.
Yeah.
The very first match I ever flew at a contest, in competition in combat was against Henry Nelson at Huntersville. Now, you think I wasn't nervous? I was brand new to combat. Like I had built 6 combat planes 6 months before, had been flying with my Nashville buddies. They take me to the Huntersville contest. Of course, I know who Henry Nelson is, right? He's like the guy, man. He's the speed guy, the racing guy, the engine guy, the combat guy. My very first official combat match was against Henry Nelson. And you know what I did? I flew right through him and had a midair about 30 seconds in. And you know,
get over with, huh?
But do you know what he did?
Right.
He shook my hand and he shook my hand and he said, "You'll get better." He knew I was brand new. He knew I was a rookie and only had, you know, maybe 10 or 20 practice matches under my belt and had never ever flown an official combat match. He shook my hand and said, "Hey, you'll get better. Build more airplanes."
Very cool.
That's the way all the pros are. I don't care if it's Henry Nelson or the West Coast, the top West Coast stunt guys, Fitzgerald. If you ever walk up to him and ask him a question, you think he's not going to talk to me. He's the world champ. He will sit down and talk to you just like anybody else.
He's actually very nice. Yeah, I did talk to him.
He's a great guy. So is all those guys are. The guy
Paul
that
Walker.
flies the Impact. I can't.
One thing you lose by having. That's why I never flew any of them. One thing you lose by having classes is you don't get exposed to those guys.
Yeah.
Well,
when I went to the national first time, I flew. You know, I'm old to it. When I flew stunt, there was only one class. You know, junior, senior, and open. So I'm older now, so I went and open, and all those guys are nice. You know, any of them will talk to you as long as you know, they're not about ready to fly, and they're very helpful.
That's what's really cool about combat is you get thrown right in the mix, and you're flying against all the big names right off the bat. You're flying with them, you're hanging out with them, you're pitting with them, you're helping each other out. You know, racing too. The little bit of racing that Sam and I have done at the Nats with him doing mouse racing, it's the same thing. You know, there's no class, and the juniors fly with the big boys, with the seniors and the regular, I guess it would be open guys or whatever. But yeah, you're right there with them, and they're eager to help, especially when they know that you're new.
Yeah.
You know?
Who scared you of all the stunt pilots you've met? Because you've been to the Nats. I think most of us have been to the Nats. What's the stunt pilot that scared you the most to meet? Made you the most nervous to meet? Mine was Billy Werwich. Bob Hunt introduced me to Billy Werwich, and I mean, this guy is my hero on a guitar. He's my hero with a model airplane. He can sing, he can play, he can fly. He's one of the best builders I've ever met, one of the best finishers I've ever met. And Billy says, "Come on." Bobby says, "Come on, I want you to meet Billy Werwich." I said, "Bobby, He said, "He puts his britches on one leg at a time, just like you do. Come on." And he was just as nice and personable as anybody. Well, after that, I thought, well, heck, I want to meet Les McDonald and some of the other guys that are here. And they were all like that. Every one of them just, what do you need? What can I help you with?
Guys, I have to go to work tomorrow. I love you guys. Good night.
Yeah.
You just got to catch them at the right time, Phil. That's all. You don't go up and talk to them. Right. Yeah. But any other time, they're all very approachable. Go ahead, John. John's been waving over there for a little while.
Go ahead.
Turn your mic on, John. Turn your mic on, John.
You're still muted.
Okay, how's about there?
All right, now we hear you.
Okay, one of the things you go to these contests, I mean, we got, you know, I like you have found that almost every one of the guys, the top guys, are just a delight to sit and talk with. But you don't want to, it's been mentioned, you don't want to bother them when they're in the heat of the competition because they...
No, way after the competition.
But you got to watch Paul Walker. He likes to play practical jokes.
Oh yeah.
He will do something. You know, the best one I ever saw was at the regionals where he went out. The guy was working trying to get his engine started. Paul was walking by and saw the handle there, went over, took the handle off, left the line sitting there, put the handle in his back pocket, walked over to the edge of the circle and stood there. The guy finally gets his engine running, goes running out there, running his lines, gets there, he's got two ends.
That's good.
And no handle. He looks around and he could see it was an adjustable cable handle. He can see the cable sticking out Walker's back pocket. He'll do things like that. But he's also just one of the nicest guys. I mean, I was at a contest where he'd gone and he'd picked up a whole bunch of these microfiber cleaning cloths. And he'd found that, you know, that they'd clean off your plane pretty quick, pretty easily. And he bought a couple dozen. He was handing them out to everybody that wanted one at the contest. Just here, take one, try it, you know. So, I mean, just watch it, though. There's a couple guys like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne and I actually gave Paul the fiber the cloths. We were using them on our cars, and so we took a whole bunch of them to the Nats one year, and we gave Paul a couple of them. I said, "Hey, try these, man. You'll like these." So
that's probably where you got it.
Yeah, well, I heard that he liked them so much that he went and bought a bunch and gave a bunch away, and so yeah, those microfibers are good.
John, you guys, who's the guy catch up on the chat box? I'm sorry, okay. I didn't interrupt. So Craig Biswick says, yes, John, you're right about the Discovery that has the inverted issue. And then Craig also went on to say, more exciting seeing your children succeed, or if you are the coach or team enjoying their success. That's so true. And then Dennis B, he says, when you beat somebody who is better than you at flying is great. Of course, that's awesome. And then Craig also says, as an elite athlete, sometimes victory is a relief rather than a joy. So those are the comments on that. And I want to share my Paul Walker story. I see Paul Walker at the state championship here in California, but because I'm so focused in the advanced competition, I don't really venture over there to the circle. But he's seen me before, and I know who he is. I'm at the Nats in 2019 at that restaurant. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a family-owned restaurant close to the
12th Street Cafe.
12th Street Cafe, right. I'm in there with Sparky, because Sparky and I were rooming together, and John Jordan. And then Paul Walker comes up to me, and he goes, Charles, what are you doing here? And so that was pretty neat to have, you know, world champion, a national champion come up to me and, you know, say what's going on like that, what you doing here. And so, you know, Paul Walker is a really cool, really friendly, nice guy.
He really is. He really is. All those guys are.
So. But you guys, I want to transition us to the after party. We're after 9 already. But we have done really well. We've had a lot of conversation, a lot of Tryon, he left, but I want to thank Tryon for his show and tell on the forming of the double-sheeted 1/16 balsa against the mold. I thought that was a very good presentation. And the commentary on the chat box is great. We don't have any super chats, and we don't have any new subscribers, and we don't have any new members. So please, if you're watching this as a replay, please hit the thumbs up and consider joining us. That would be awesome. But I want to thank everybody for coming in. We also, I think we're up to 15 at one point, I think, here. So, you know, this is really, really growing, doing really well. So we're going to transition to the after party. I want you guys to know who are watching this. If you're watching the replay, you need to get in here on Monday and Friday evenings at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and also be a registered member of Stunt Hangar Forum, so you can come into the after party, because as much fun as we've had tonight, sometimes the after party is even better. So
it's getting ready to go wild.
It is a time here.
I was just going to say it goes down the tubes when Steve is here.
Yeah. We're going to end the stream now. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for the replay. Thanks for everything else. See you guys later.